The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. Proverbs 14:15. There exists an unexamined assumption in modern Christianity that doubt is the opposite of faith. What if we've been wrong? What if holy skepticism, the kind made Thomas touch wounds and Bereans examine scrolls, is not the enemy of devotion, but its necessary counterpart? Today we explore sacred cynicism. When asking hard questions become an act of worship, why the healthiest believers often harbor unresolved tensions, and how to doubt your way toward deeper truth without losing your soul in the process. The spectrum of sacred doubts. So, 1, historical precedents. The lament Psalms as canonical doubts. Psalms 22:1. Jacob wrestling the angel. Genesis 32:24-30. Jesus' cry of dereliction. Mark 15:34. So the modern crisis. In 2024, Barna study, 61% of practicing Christians admit to significant unanswered theological questions. The contrast, only 23% report feeling permission to voice these in church settings. So what about the case studies in holy skepticism? Well, the seminary professor who teaches systematic theology but weeps through Advent. The worship leader who sings of God's goodness while parenting a terminally ill child. The atheist turned believer who retains their intellectual discomfort with certain doctrines. So when does cynicism turn sacred? Distinguishing between the destructive doubt seeking to undermine and constructive doubt seeking to understand. The role of emotional honesty in spiritual maturity. So what about practicing sacred cynicism? Well, the examine of questions. Ignatian prayer adapted for modern doubters. 1. What question is keeping me awake? Where might God be in this tension? And what ancient wisdom have I not yet considered? So what about the library of unanswered questions? Well, maintaining a journal of biblical passages that trouble you, church teachings that don't resonate, and personal experiences that defy tidy theology. So what about the art of holy ambiguity? Learning to say, this doesn't make sense to me, yet I believe, help me unbelieve, Mark 9:24. The Trinity is not a math problem to solve, but a mystery to inhabit. Well, let's do a case study. My deathcore theology. How Autopsy of the King's lyrics sit in tension with divine sovereignty versus human suffering. God's justice and mercy. Eternal security and warnings against apostasy. So what about the guardrails for a cynical pilgrim? Well, the community imperative. Why doubt must be relational. The danger of exclusively digital deconstruction. The liturgical anchor. How fixed hour prayer stabilizes seasonal doubt. You got the obedience paradox. Taste and see. Psalm 34:8 as spiritual method. When to act despite unresolved questions. Well, with that, I'm going to actually go to the audience Q&A. I think a lot of this is going to be from the previous episode, so I'm going to answer these. I think I have about 5 as well, just like last week. Yes, I do, that I chose from. So let's get into them. Question 1. How do I question problematic teachings without becoming arrogant? Good question. Imagine holding your theology like a child holds a parent's hand, with enough tension to feel the connection, but not so tight you crush the relationship. The moment your questions make you feel superior to other believers, you've lost the plot. Question 2. What's the difference between healthy doubt and demonic influence? A demonic whispers say abandon faith. Holy skepticism says deepen understanding. One isolates, the other invites conversation. Test the fruit. Matthew 7:15-20. Okay, so question 3. My small group shuts down my questions. Should I leave? First, try this. I'm not asking to challenge God, but to know him better. Can we explore this together? If they still refuse, find wiser companions, but don't mistake discomfort for persecution. Question 4. How do I reconstruct after deconstruction without just creating what I left? Treat doctrines like furniture and a new home. Don't just haul everything back in. Ask of each belief, does this help me love God and neighbor better? Keep only what passes the test. All right, and the last question, what role does art play in processing doubt? Well, my band song, let's see, which one do I want to use here? Let's go with Demons Die Today, brand new single that's coming out. So my band song, Demons Die Today, puts Christ's agonized prayers over a dissonant breakdown. Because sometimes truth needs new forms when old ones crack. Art makes space for what sermons cannot. All right, so we're going to go to the closing scripture here. When I tried to understand all this, it troubled me deeply till I entered the sanctuary of God. Psalm 73:16-17. All right, so next week will be the scandal of Christian celebrity. Until then, may your doubts drive you deeper rather than away. And as always, support me on Patreon or buymeacoffee.com. That being said, have yourself a wonderful week.